Facial profiling is a primary assessment tool when determining your dominant energy type. Let's take a look at the type 4 bold, striking woman's face. It's important to remember that when you're using the tool of facial profiling, you first look at the whole face. What is the whole face expressing?
Type 4s are big picture, so you can be very good at this, right?
Yeah, step back, look at the whole face. Let's look at our 3 examples all together. And the movement we're noticing is structure, symmetry, definition, a porcelain quality to the skin.
Still, precise. The movement and the shapes that we want to look for are parallel lines,
Straight lines, oblongs,
and
rectangles, and even squares. Let's take a look at Lauren. I love Lauren is a very classic example of a type 4. We could split her face in half, draw a line down the middle, and it's a mirror image of itself.
Really, even her ears, like the tops of her ears are exact parallel. And look, if you draw a line from her ear, top of her ear, it will draw a straight line underneath her eyes and connect on the other side of her ear.
Yes. So we're looking at, for these parallel lines, a straight line across the top of her forehead, straight line through her eyebrows, a straight line through her eyes, and her mouth.
Now, to just give a little wiggle room, because obviously her eyebrows are curving and they're not totally straight. But what we're pointing out is how it has a very clear quality that everything is on the same line. And you'll see that more obviously in type 4s, that everything has a nice placement to it.
Her forehead is a rectangle. The sides of her face are straight lines.
You can see a definition in her cheekbone mirroring the straight line in her jawline as well. I love her lips. The top lip and the bottom lip are the same width. They're a mirror image of each other. She has a very clean straight line down her nose, and if she were to turn to a profile, it would probably have a very straight quality
nose bridge
as well.
So we see this quality of sculpted definition in her face.
Now, you often hear the term of porcelain skin, and some type 4s have tripped themselves up being like, oh, I don't have perfect skin. What we're referring to, and you can see this well in Lauren, is a smaller pore size and an overall consistency in the color. You can see that she does have blemishes, but overall you're seeing a very even quality, and that's coming through pore size, finer lines. She has very minimal lines overall.
Part of that, though, is because she has gray on. So let's take a look at her after, and you're going to see this now really.
Bam.
Her face takes on, her skin quality takes on a different expression where we see how porcelain it looks. And we've matched her hairstyle and wearing her bold colors now really bring out her type 4 qualities in her face.
You can see that she does have movement around her mouth. And so again, we're looking at an overall quality. Because be like, oh, she has movement around her mouth. I'm a type 4. I'm supposed to have no movement. You're a human being.
You're going to an extreme.
But no,
which means you might be a type 4. And if you took a ruler out, you said, well, I'm not perfectly symmetrical. Again, just looking at the face without measuring it, it appears to be symmetrical.
Now, and notice too, when she smiles, her eyes aren't moving upward. It's just, you can tell she's smiling, but her eyes haven't shifted its movement very much. So just a lower quality of movement. Let's now look at Stacy.
Stacy has a square face with a very rectangular forehead. Again, her eyes are set on a straight line. You can see that she's smiling, yet her mouth maintains a long rectangular shape.
And again, here you can see the top lip and the bottom lip are a similar size, adding to that symmetrical quality. The tops of her eyebrows too create a very straight line, and her space, this is a feature that I love. You could draw a rectangle starting on the outside of her nostril all the way up to her eyebrow, over to the other eyebrow and down again, and create a rectangle right in the middle of the nose, and the width between her eyes will line up with the edge of the nostril. You can see that a lot on type 4s. You'll just be able to create these straight lines throughout the face.
You also see a very defined jawline and the high cheekbone that mirrors the jawline. Her after now shows Again, that quality of skin really clears up, and we can see more clearly her eyes that are set on a straight line. They're actually set further apart, creating that rectangular space in between.
You can even see on the bottom of her teeth how they create
Yeah,
a straight line.
very
So you'll
straight.
start to notice this movement in all the little places on your face. But first, stand back and look at the overall movement. Then have fun diving into it. Let's look at Charity.
In her face, we're again seeing eyes set further apart, eyes are on a straight line, and not completely straight, but mostly straight smile.
The top of her eyebrow reflects the line underneath her eye, and you could draw around and create an oval that has more of an oblong quality. The eyelash line and her eyelid line create two parallel lines, or two lines moving in the same direction. Also, the bottom of her nose has a straight line. I like this example because I feel like she does have a little bit more of a softer quality for a type 4, but you can definitely see the symmetry, the very clean line in her hairline. And you can see that even more when we pull up her after. You can see the very clean top of an oval, and the sides of her cheekbones now become more defined, creating that nice parallel quality.
Looking at all three together, you can see that refinement, that defined quality, structure, symmetry that they all express. As a type 4 woman, you need to be mindful of over-analyzing your face, picking it apart, every little piece and part of your face, and then coming to the conclusion it's not perfect enough, or you're not stunning, that you're just not that quality of beauty.
Well, are you wearing gray?
Could be. You're not dressing your truth yet, so you're not seeing that. We can see that in each one of their before and afters, that we wouldn't consider them particularly stunning in their before photos, but in their afters, they truly bring that stunning quality forward. You might think that you're not a type 4 because you're not perfect enough. Those are all actually references. They're insights for yourself. Some of the things that you've been complimented for are being able to just be so clear in what you want, being a person that's very solid in who you are and your own sense of values, that
being very
dependable, you're very
thought
dependable. You're very thorough. People appreciate your big picture view of things. You may have also heard that you can get icy and stiff, and you might be a know-it-all, and the things that I talk about in my book, It's Just My Nature. Make sure you read It's Just My Nature to get an overall view of a type 4 expression. I've heard from so many type 4s because they feel that of any type, they're the most unique, and I wouldn't understand them. And I do think it's the least identified in any other profiling system. So I've heard frequently for type 4s, it was kind of spooky for them to read that section in the book, It's Just My Nature, because they felt like I'd gotten in their head and figured them out.
I can't deny this.
Like, this is weird, because it's like she's explaining who I am. And
it's so validating.
Yeah, I consider myself not easy to understand. You're just like, really? There's a bunch of other people walking around like
and
me?
I think for a type 4, it's very validating. Like, my people.
All right, so you are meant to be your own authority, so just don't get in your own way, because you can take things too far, go an extreme, and not trust yourself and keep yourself in the over-analysis state.
Do you think a type 4 gets that clear, like, hit, like we've mentioned for some of the other types?
I think it's more intellectual, that it just lines up. Things start to line up, that there's more lining up, saying, in your thinking process.
So it kind of just lands in this spot.
Yeah, you're like this. It's kind of like you mentally make these you just line things up in your own thinking mind, and you're able to say, well, more adds up that I am a type 4 than not. And you're even right now saying, that's exactly what I do. So you use the word exactly a lot, use the word perfectly a lot, and that's not unique to you. Other types can, but you'll use it more often in an affirmative response than any other type.
I think, too, like type 4s, you have that sense of knowing, right? You're leading with your mind. And so trust that sense of knowing and then move forward rather than, okay, I know, but now I'm really going to make sure I know and look at it from all these different angles. That will now get it muddled and gray for you. So trust your sense of knowing when things lined up and really fall firmly for you. Then move forward. and analyze the next thing. But with this profiling, let that land, move forward, trust yourself that you know.
So let's hear from some women that got in their own way. What helped you finally figure it out that you're a type 4, and women that knew, trusted that point of reference to who they are, took the assessment tools, trusted your own interpretation of them, came to the conclusion you're a type 4 very easily. What was your experience? Let's hear from both of you in the comments, and let's keep supporting more type 4 women in seeing and then dressing their truth, because you have a beautiful gift and an amazing presence here in the world. Thanks for being a part of humanity.